Donald Trump had a busy week releasing his Supreme Court picks, meeting with elder statesman Henry Kissinger, going after Hillary Clinton on guns, and drawing a distinction with her on terror. Joining me now from Birmingham, Alabama to discuss all of this and more is Jeff Sessions. He is the first senator to endorse Donald Trump and now is the chairman of his National Security Advisory Committee. Senator, welcome back to Fox News Sunday. We spent a little bit of time in the Louisville airport together the other night, but it's good to see you for a more lengthy period of time. So Donald Trump wasted no time, as we pointed out, labeling what happened to Egypt Air Flight 804 as an act of terror. There is yet no evidence to suggest that that is, well, perhaps to suggest it is the case, but certainly there's no evidence to definitively say that. Did he get out there a little too far ahead of himself on this?
Well, it certainly appears to be a terrorist act, and it was one of those critical flights from Paris to Egypt, where you have a lot of people in Paris that are part of this international terrorist movement. So it has every indication that that's what it is, and I think it probably will be. That will probably be found out to be true.
But if it isn't, let's say, for instance, that it was a mechanical problem, and I think the jury is out right now as to exactly what caused this. Is it problematic for somebody who wants to be president to come out with that declaratory statement to say that this, in fact, was terrorism, and if you think it's anything else, you're fooling yourself? Because he may have to walk it back.
Well, look, one of the things that I think undermining our ability to be effective, John, is that we're so politically correct. If it's not a terrorist attack, that's great news, but it probably is, and we should be able to talk about it and actually take action as soon as possible to deal with those kind of threats, and we can't be in denial.
Mr. Trump is meeting tomorrow with Senator Bob Corker, who is the head of the Foreign Relations Committee. He's also met with Henry Kissinger. He met with James Baker. Is he learning about foreign policy from these meetings? Are these just maybe more of a box check on your route to becoming the president? What's happening in these meetings, Senator?
I don't think there's any doubt that he's enjoying these meetings, and there'll be more of them. He's focused on being even more prepared, but his basic philosophy and approach to national defense and foreign policy is close to the Kissinger-type model. It's realism, it's caution, it's being more cautious about how we deploy our men and women in harm's way, not to be involved in excessive efforts to create democracies in countries that are not ready for it. I believe that's a legitimate criticism of a recent foreign policy. I think he's on the right track in that regard. I've supported President Bush and a lot of these activities, but I think most Americans believe correctly that we need to be more cautious in the future about our engagement around the world.
Does he still have more to learn about foreign policy?
Well, of course, we all do. I've been on the Armed Services Committee for 20 years, and the details are so complex in some of these countries. You have to have the best intelligence you can possibly get, and to decide whether to commit even a small number of troops really is a serious decision. It has long-range implications, and you have to have the best advice you can get. I think you don't have to know everything the day you hit the office, but you do have to seek your advice from your best people before action is taken.
Does Mr. Trump know what he doesn't know?
Well, I think he does. I think his instincts are really correct. He believes in peace through strength. He believes in identifying threats that are threats to us. What does it do to America? And we respond aggressively to protect America, but at the same time we recognize their limits, and we need to have more support from our allies. I mean, they can't just ride us forever. We've got a serious financial challenge in America, and we need more support from our allies. All of that, I think, is sound. He's gaining support from the best minds on some of these issues.
There are some notable Republicans who are at odds with Mr. Trump's foreign policy. Secretary James Baker, at a Senate hearing a little while ago, said that he believed that his foreign policy was based on, quote, ill-informed bluster and threats. He in particular didn't like what he was saying about NATO or the potential for nuclear weapons in Japan and South Korea. And then the former Secretary of Defense, Bob Gates, came out and said he is not comfortable, at the moment at least, with Donald Trump's finger on the nuclear trigger. Here's what he said.
Right now, no. But the question is, does he moderate his views on national security issues going forward? Does he begin to have some more informed views about the complexities of some of these issues, some of the challenges that we face, and who does he choose as his advisors. If all of those things turned out in a positive way, then my concerns would be significantly reduced.
Senator Sessions, is Secretary Gates correct? Does Donald Trump need to moderate his views on foreign policy and become more informed on the complexities of foreign policy?
I think Secretary Gates will find, and Donald Trump will find as time goes by, they're closer to agreement than many would think. Secretary Gates opposed the Libyan action. He was correct to do so, but Secretary of State Clinton got President Obama to participate in the collapse of that government. Now we have chaos there. Gates was correct. Clinton was wrong. Donald Trump believes that was a mistake. There are other areas of agreement. Donald Trump has said he would have early on a meeting of NATO to discuss our common aims and goals and to talk with them about giving more money and sharing more of the cost. As Secretary Gates has firmly said, they must share more of the cost. So I think they're in agreement there. He also said he'd meet with our Asian allies and discuss the common interest there and call on them to be more participating in the cost.
When we saw each other in Louisville, it was because we were there for the NRA's annual meeting. Donald Trump got the endorsement of the NRA. It's the first time, at least since 1992, although they didn't endorse in 92 and 96, the earliest that a presidential candidate has gotten the endorsement. It would seem to indicate, Senator, the depth of concern that the National Rifle Association has about what may happen in November. Am I correct?
That is correct, and they are correct. Hillary Clinton is the most anti-Second Amendment president perhaps we've ever had. She said again recently that the Heller decision that protects the right of individuals to keep and bear arms was wrong. Right now, with the death of Justice Scalia and the vacancy on the court, it's 4-4. 4 for, support the Heller decision, 4 against. If she gets in, she will appoint somebody who changes it. And what that means is it's no longer a personal right to have a gun, but every city, county, and state can completely ban firearms in America. This would be the greatest reduction of Second Amendment rights since the founding of the Republic. It's a tremendous issue, and Americans need to understand the extent of her radical position on it.
Of course, Donald Trump came out with a list of people that he would consider for the Supreme Court earlier in the week. Does he have that much of a problem with conservative senator that he has to 5-6 months before the election say, here's whom I would appoint to the Supreme Court should I become president?
He said he was going to do that early on. I think it's his own decision to do so because he wants to establish that his goal for the Supreme Court is a professional, thoughtful jurist who believe in the classical role of a judge as a neutral umpire, not as an advocate for various social policies that they may favor. And I think this was a great decision. It's been well received throughout the country.
Be that as it may, Senator, it seems that he does have to take steps that most presidential candidates don't to mollify conservatives. Am I correct in assuming that?
Well, it certainly has confirmed their belief that he will nominate good judges because these are really fine lists. All of them are accomplished, good scholarly backgrounds, proven records. I think that was it did reassure some people that were attacking and saying he would not nominate conservative judges.
You've heard that from those people?
We heard that a lot. It was part of the themes in the campaign that Donald Trump would nominate liberal judges. I think he's demolished that argument.
Senator Sessions, good to visit with you this morning. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you.
All right. We'll see you in an airport somewhere in America in the near future. Thanks.